Hey guys, today be giving you an update here on Herb Deutsch's SOB. Finally got the SAD 512s I was waiting on to come in, and got all sections of this chorus board working. For those that don't know, I'd recommend you watch the earlier video first. This will all make a little bit more sense. I go over a little bit more in depth on that video, but I'm actually going to go a little bit deeper in this chorus board on this video. So I think you guys will enjoy this. Anyways, what this is, it's a three-stage bucket brigade delay circuit with different phase offsets. So it's a chorus board looking at the phase offsets of the three bucket brigade delays. That's how this works. Now earlier I only had one stage working, so it just sounded like modulation. There's no interaction between the other two stages. So it's basically just modulating the input frequency. That's what it was doing. So it's almost working like a vibrato effect, so to speak. But what we've got here, I'm going to show you two scopes set up here. I'm going to kind of show you an important part I left out in the last video though. I talked about the modulators, which are actually, it's a 19 Hertz and a 2.2 Hertz modulation stage. But what I didn't talk about was actually those are driving, we'll say roughly 300 kilohertz oscillators that actually clock the SAD 512. Now I say roughly 300 kilohertz because I'm going to show you they're actually all different frequency per stage. So we're looking at the first stage here on this first scope, and you can see it's actually 248 kilohertz. Right there, if we go in, you'll see it's 248. Now then what we're going to do is, actually let me turn on channel 2 here. We're going to go down here to the second stage of this course, and you can see it's running at 265 kilohertz. If we zoom in there, you'll see 265. And then if we go to the third stage, which is a little harder to get to, I'm doing all this one-handed while holding the camera, we've got 281 kilohertz. So there's a 281 kilohertz. Now right now there's no modulation. I got the modulation turned to 0, and you'll see that the clock signal is actually just a smooth square wave clock. Now this is where it gets interesting. I'm actually going to go to stage 1 first. Now you won't actually see stage 1 modulate on this scope because it's based off the trigger setting I've got on my scope. But you can see the interaction of the phase between 2 and 3, and I'm going to show you this. So we don't have modulation on, so it's just basically it's just bypassing audio through the SAD 512, and you kind of see how this looks. So we'll start this. See that yellow is stage 1, so yellow is actually the stage 1, and stage 2 is the blue signal. So now we're going to go to stage 3, and what you're going to see is you're going to see the phase change between 2 and 3 and 1. So we'll go down here. Let me get on this one. You can actually see it's wider. It's wider on stage 3 than it is on 2. As you see there. Now if we look at 2 and 3, let me go here on my scope. I'm actually just moving my test points here, so bear with me here. So we'll move 2 to 3, or 1 to 3, 1 to 2, and now we're looking at 2 and 3 on the scope. And you can see that narrow pulse, or that narrow change in the phase, not pulse. Let me go back up here now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to modulate these signals. This is where you'll really get to see what's going on, and you actually hear it in the actual course. You'll hear the 3 sections. You can see that's modulating at a different point than what, because we're actually looking at 1 right now. This is stage 1 modulating. We're looking at stage 2, which is blue, and stage 1 you won't really see the modulation because of the trigger point. But you can see But now we'll move from stage 1 with our clock signal to stage 2. And now you actually see this match up with that phase. Set my trigger point. See it just like that. And same thing if we go to stage 3 down here. You see it too is modulating. Now right now I'm still working with slow rate. So here's stage 3. It'll be blue down there, and it's still the yellow signal up here on the top scope. You can see how that works. So that's really how this chorus works. We'll go back here, go to stage 2, and then we'll actually go to fast rate. So you'll see the modulation. You still see that slow rate in there, but now you see a faster modulation. That's basically how the chorus works in these things. It's just a phase offset of a bucket brigade delay, and they're in different phase angles, and that's how it works. But I just thought you guys might like to see that. I'm actually getting ready to close this thing up, so I'm actually going to close it up, finish this thing up, and I'll finish this video here shortly. But anyways, we'll be back here soon. Alright, now I have this thing back together, and just going to go over all the functions for you, Herb, show you that it's fully working. And for anybody else who's curious about the Opus 3, just going to go over all the controls here. Going to start with the chorus section, or the string section, since that's where we had the most issue with the chorus board. Just give you a good overview of how this thing sounds now as an instrument, rather than just taking test readings and showing you a few notes at a time, for those that are curious. Really fantastic chorus. Really like this chorus. It's very similar to what you find like in the Arp Selena, Arp Omni, as far as the tone goes. And it's just a really nice chorus, as you can hear. And also you've got a resonator stage, which is one stage of a Moog, and that's a really handy thing too. I'll be showing that as well here. So here we go. Of your chorus. You've also got your amount, which is your depth of your chorus, so we'll turn it all the way down. You've also got a delay, so we'll set our delay of our modulation up. It uses the same delay. Turn on our delay here, and you'll actually hear the chorus come in slowly. See how that works. We can also slide the slider here over and put the organ drawbars basically into the chorus, and it sounds like this. So as you can hear, your chorus section works really well now. So now we'll go to organ since you've heard it. I'm going to actually start with the drawbars all down, or the footages. We'll call them footages here. So you got a 16, 8, 4, 2, and 1 as described in the last video series of this, which actually show you the schematic layout. So right now you'll hear that you won't hear anything. We'll bring up 16 first, and I'll go through all the notes so you can see that all the dividers are working. So this is the 16 footage. And you go to reset mode. That's still there. So that's your 16. Then we got the 8. We got the 4. Then we got the 2. And then we got the 1. Now the 1s might be harder to hear in this upper register. So that's all your footages. You've also got a tone control here, which is like a brightness control that you can hear. Seeing how that works. And also you heard me mention reset when I started doing this. That's actually your contour section. So for example, right now, if I hit a note and let off a note, it's going to reset the actual contour. We'll hear it. If we have a long set release, see, it kills those notes. If we go to mode 2 on the contour, it'll just build up. So it's really handy having that reset mode as 1. But that's your organ section. Then we got the actual brass section, which is the voltage controlled filter. So you can kind of hear how this sounds. What you have is you actually have a 16, 8, and 4. You've also got a preset mode, which actually gives you a brass response of a fixed contour setting for your filter. So you can hear how that works. So that's actually in the preset mode. It actually sets up the emphasis and contours, the emphasis and cutoff frequency as well as your contour. We'll go back to variable mode. So you hear your attack. So is your decay and your sustain level. You've also got a mount control, so you can actually control how much of that you want to get into the filter. Combine the sections together. Slow attack, and you'll kind of hear how this thing builds up. We'll actually turn on the brightness of the organ a little bit as well. How that works. What you've also got too is you got a modulation section, which you can either modulate the filter or you can modulate the frequency modulation of your actual VCO that drives your divider chips. So we'll go to L film first. Also got a delay, which is the same delay I used for the chorus earlier. We'll bring that up. And now you won't hear modulation until it comes in with a delay. Modulate the filter. So as you can hear, all that works. But that's basically the sections of the Opus 3. You've also got a pitch bend. So anyways, you can hear just how great this thing sounds now, Herb. And once again, I appreciate you letting me work on this thing for you. It's been a real honor, real privilege. And for all you guys that watch my videos, appreciate you watching. And hopefully you found all that core stuff interesting there. But anyways, there'll be more videos to come. Take care.